Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is well. Hi there. I'm Jenni Walke from Elephant in the Room Consulting and my digital BFF, Kylie Mowbray Allen from Hello Media. And you're tuning into Business Bite Size Live Podcast, the show that helps small business owners get clarity and insight to grow their business dream.
Yay. So whether you're just launching or you're ready to scale or you're figuring out what's coming next, we're going to be discussing the nitty gritty and the hard bits and the opportunities and behind the scenes and share how we use digital to grow our own companies. So thanks for joining us. Today, we've got a very exciting topic. We're talking about our favorite apps, platforms, things, whatever it is that's digital that helps us in our day-to-day running of our business or helps us in growing our business. So we thought it'd be fun if we brought to you our 5 favorites and we'll discuss them and you can see if it might be something that you're interested in using for your business. So Jenni, this is one of our topics that we talk about, we just between you and I all the time, because we always like to share the latest shiny thing that we've found that actually makes life better. So do you want to kick it off with your first favorite?
I would love to. Mine is actually not a digital thing, but has a digital element. So you've heard me talk about my Remarkable too. I absolutely love my Remarkable. It's my digital notebook. So I carry it around with me everywhere. It is basically a notebook that's done like, it looks like an iPad, but what I love about it, there's no dinging, no buzzing, nothing else on it except my notes. So instead of having to carry around 15 different notebooks for different client meetings, or even having to flick back through pages to try and find my notes, I can actually hold all my notes in folders and individual kind of pages and notebooks on my Remarkable too. And what I love about it is that links, when you connect it to Wi-Fi, you can link it to Google Drive or OneDrive. And you can also actually view your notebook on your phone or on your tablet or your computer. So it actually links directly. So even if I don't have my notebook with me, I can open up my phone, which is always with me, and I can go through and see every single note I've taken in every meeting, actually exactly like a mirror image of the physical tablet. So it's a perfect opportunity to kind of keep notes, stay ahead of your conversations with clients, no matter where you are, but it's not heavy, it's easy to use, and it links everything together. And I absolutely love it.
Oh, I have heard you talk about your Remarkable on many occasions, and you know what? I've never seen it. I've never seen it in action. So next time I'm going to have to say to you, hey, can I have a wee look? Because I use a similar type of a notebook, but not similar at all. So actually you have a particular pen and you write on it and then it's wipeable. So you wipe it off, but then you scan the little symbol at the bottom of that particular page that you've set up, and then it automatically takes it to Dropbox, or it automatically takes it to wherever you want to send it to, for example.
And I used to have one like that. They did it for OneNote. So very similar, or the Evernote, sorry, not OneNote. Evernote had a very similar kind of model that it used. And I used to really like it, but I still have to have this kind of notebook-esque idea. And what I love about this is I have a number of different clients. So I've created subfolders just kind of like my File Explorer or my desktop. So I have a file folder for every single client. And within that, I can actually then group meeting notes. I can group themes or projects, and I can search it. So I can search the title.
Does that stop you having a pile of notebooks like that?
Instead of having a pile of notebooks, which I still love, and I still have a little penchant, and I always still carry one little notebook just for those ad hoc kind of scribbles. But you can draw, you can highlight, you can actually review PDFs, and even though it's a grayscale color, you can actually change the color of your highlighter. So when you view it in color or you view it on a desktop, it'll actually show up with the different pen colors. So it's a really intuitive system. I can do it, left-handed. I'm a left-handed person, so I've set it up that way with your right hand. So it's just one of the best tools. And what I love about it, it was actually a startup about 18 months ago out of Norway. So they're I think they started with Kickstarter or one of the kind of entrepreneurial platforms. And by getting it, you're not only supporting a small business, but they're really allowing you to find a sustainable way to kind of take notes and manage your information without having to use, physically paper notebooks.
I think that's so brilliant, and I'm a big fan of the paperless office.
Yes.
The only time I'm not paperless are my endless notebooks, but I purposely try and not print anything and have as much of it filed digitally as I possibly can.
Exactly.
Firstly, because paper drives me crazy, but secondly, because we just don't need it, right? It's just,
Exactly.
you know,
You don't need it.
unnecessary. So I definitely need to look into the Remarkable. And where did you buy it?
So you
Anything you'd
literally
like to
buy it from
recommend?
remarkable.com.
Oh,
There's the
cool.
Remarkable 2. They've actually done an upgrade. So there's some better, some slightly better functionality with it. Comes with a pen that only works on the Remarkable. So it's not a standard stylus. It only does work with the Remarkable. And as a tip for young players, you just get the standard pen. You don't need the pen with the eraser, because there's a really great functionality on the system to, you know, copy and paste, erase using the notepad itself. So, and it converts into text. So if your writing is neat enough, mine is not, but if your writing is neat enough, it will actually convert it into an email. So you can connect it, write yourself an email on the notepad, it will convert to text and you can email that to yourself.
Oh, I love it. And Jenni, that would be really good, because sometimes I take notes when I'm doing a coaching call with a client, and then I think, I really want to, rather than type it up, I want to just share it with my team. But I know I can't take a photo and show them because they won't be able to read my scribble. So that's a really good reason too. So what's the cost of the Remarkable?
So the cost of the Remarkable sits at around $800, including kind of everything that you need. That's including the case. You can get a leather folio, or you can just get a standard, what's the word? Felt folio, sorry. But the actual Remarkable is in of itself is only $500, and then you actually just get the different pieces. So the marker's around 100, and then the folio sits at around 100 to 240, depending on the type of cover that you want for it. So all in, you're looking at about 800, but you could actually get away with it for about, you know, probably 650, and then choose your own cover at any other time. I know Etsy has covers for Remarkable. What's also very cool is you can actually download templates for Remarkable. So if you're someone who takes notes like I am, and you or have a particular style that you do, you can actually download PDF templates from a lot of websites, but particularly Etsy, that actually allows you to bring up like a to-do list or your calendar and all that information that you would normally have in a typical diary. So you can convert your Remarkable into a daily diary and actually have that standard format, or you can in fact create your own template in a PDF format and utilize that. So it gives you so much flexibility.
Nice one. So perhaps one of your team members, while we're chatting, could be putting in the comment section or something in our live on Facebook and sharing with the links to each one, and then my team can be putting my ones in, because I bet the people listening are going to go, I need that, I want that, etc. So we can be sharing, and also we can edit the caption at the end, particularly once it's a podcast and once it's on YouTube, so that everybody can find all the links to all our awesomeness.
That would be amazing.
Yes. Well, thanks for sharing that one, Jenni.
So what's your first one?
My first one I'm going to talk about, and I know you're also going to be talking about this one too, because there's one where there's quite a few where you and I overlap, but this one in particular, we both wanted to add it on to ours. So that is Canva. So I have to talk about Canva first, even though the others I'm mentioning I absolutely love. But I have to talk about Canva because it's pretty much, I would say, 90% of how we run our business. So it's all the social content. It's all of my presentations that I then, you know, share on Zoom, etc. It's where we're making reels. It's where we're making printed material for our clients as well, within Canva. So rather than doing it in Illustrator now and sending it to the printer, it's literally just fine to be doing it in Canva. So there's so many different ways that we use it. And of course, we're doing video from in there as well, that I felt it was really important to mention it. And in fact, last night on the Positive Passionate Businesswoman Meetup, because every month I like to share, I try to aim for around 5 favorite platforms that I've found that I'm using. And at least 2 of those I like to mention, not platforms, but something updated in Canva. And so, for example, the thing I shared last night was so cool. I just made a little video of it, and I'll put it in the Hello Media Facebook group today for anybody listening that wants to see one of these really cool new Canva updates. But Jenni, tell me, how are you using Canva and why do you love it so much?
Very well similar to you, although we're just getting into Reels. I know I'm a little behind the times in the Reels. I know how great they are, but we use it for the same thing. I build a lot of capability statements for clients, and use it for commercial documents like that. So documents to promote their business or share flyers for workshops and things. So we use it a lot for that focus. And what I love about Canva is the ability and the ease at which you can resize. And I know you were the first person to introduce me to that many years ago, how you can easily resize your information in Canva to depending on the shape or size of the document. What I do love about it, though, is particularly for things like business cards and playing around with images. I just created a set of business cards for a client, and we wanted to get a really beautiful image that matched her business and what she's doing rather than just the logo. And so we found these perfect images on Canva, which we could then put on the business card, which just elevates it from just being her name and address and her phone number to something a little bit different that creates a connection with people. So I love it with its flexibility. I use it for my presentations for every month when we do our Ultimate Authority Web Masterclass. They're all done in Canva. I write all my workshop materials. So when we run our training program, the 32-page booklet that people get when they come to the coaching program is built in Canva. So yeah, we use it pretty much on a daily basis.
Brilliant. So I was with a client the other day, and he's just starting to take his offline workshops online. So he said, so I'm so glad you've been showing me the best things about Canva, and then I'll just put that into PowerPoint. I was like, no, that's the beauty. You can just forget about that and go straight from Canva, and it's just got so much more functionality that can really make your stuff look great and on brand. So,
but I do
really
love that you can download your presentations into PowerPoint. So I have a client that only works in PowerPoint. They don't have Canva as part of their brand and their internal kind of systems. So if I want to create fancy, flow charts or graphics and things like that, I do it in Canva first, and then I download it into PowerPoint so he gets the right shape and size for PowerPoint, and then I can actually overlay the client branding in that, which isn't, it's a double handling, but it means I get that flexibility that you get. It's not just smart art that you have in PowerPoint. You get such great templates, and I love the templates, particularly when you're talking presentations, for quirky little symbols and images and just the design styles. It's such a clever way to kind of elevate the graphics on all aspects of your business, particularly if you're not a graphic designer like you are.
Totally. And for designers, you can make money by uploading your templates. But also, like you said, with Etsy and with all kinds of places, you can actually go and buy Canva templates as well, so that they're specifically just for you. My top tip around templates, though, would be never use a template as it is. Always make sure that you change the colors for your branding, change the fonts, change the images. So I like to think of templates as inspiration, but not necessarily what you then is going to be your final outcome, because it's many times I see when I'm scrolling Instagram and I'm like, I recognize that template, and they haven't changed a thing except for the name. So that's funny. But I'd like to move on from that and go for another one for me, which is actually Instagram. So we know that that's a social platform, but it's also absolutely vital to your business. And I'd like to announce that this morning, there was an announcement from Adam Mosseri, the CEO of Instagram, that everything from here on in that's video is going to be Reels. So it's really interesting. He had a lot to say about it. So if you're following him on Instagram, that's a great idea. He does really short little snippets of what's happening with updates. So with Canva already, we transitioned ourselves and our clients over to the new Instagram size. So we're no longer posting anything square. Everything is a 4:5 ratio. So, but also now making sure that all your videos also are. So we used to be making videos in square size, but now we're only making them in that much bigger size. From memory, I think it's a 1080 by 1350, but I could be wrong. My team can let me know in the chat so I can correct that if I'm wrong. But anyway, it's way better. There's heaps more real estate for your stuff to be seen as people are scrolling, and such a good idea to be definitely using that. And from now on, you can think about video as reels, but really you could just animate your text on a quote, for example, or on a review, and boom, that's a video. So remembering that, everything's about video this year going forward. So yeah, that's why I had to put Instagram in there, even though there's all the other social platforms and, we use many of them, but Instagram really, you've definitely got to be there. So that's my next. Oh, and the other thing to remember is that while you can look at it all on desktop, the phone version is just so much better. So definitely be looking at all the extra features available there. So Jenni, what's your third one?
My third one is actually going back to something that's online, offline, and it's a business system. And I think it's a really critical one because we're talking about tech and technology, but we can get overwhelmed. I know you and I, and we've talked to a lot of our colleagues at the moment, and there's so much going on post, July 3rd, so 1st of June, 1st of July, and all that's happening at the moment, and particularly with changes in COVID back again, all those things can be overwhelming. So I, at the moment, always go back to Eisenhower, my Do First matrix. There's actually a website, if you, rather than just looking at my Do First matrix, which you can get off our website and the girls will share in the chat, there's actually a website called Eisenhower Matrix that talks through the history and background, and you can actually download some other really cool templates to use the Eisenhower Matrix. So for those who don't know, it's a simple strategy to actually plan your day out to the things you need to do first, things you need to schedule, stuff you need to delegate, and the stuff you just need to discard and don't do anymore because it's just noise in your life. And so for me, that is a critical part of my business systems. And I know it's not a digital tool, although I use it on my Remarkable. And if I'm using my iPad, I do it on my iPad because it's something that I do every single day. And it actually allows me to utilize the other tools that I use. So things like Canva and the other systems and tools that I use so much more effectively because I'm actually only sharing stuff that I really need to, instead of kind of just using it as a conversational platform, which is what I used to do when I had teams years ago. We would just use a lot of the communication platforms to kind of share stuff, and there'd be the tasks would get lost in the noise. And so this allows me to focus my time, focus my effort, and that means I know what I need to share with my team. In my fourth option, which I'm going to jump to, which is Slack. So by doing the Eisenhower Matrix and planning my day out, and having that sort of system, it allows me, when I go into the teams in the morning and I go into Slack and talk to my amazing team, I can say, okay, these are the things that we need to do. And this is the stuff I'm going to get you to do, because I've already agreed that I'm going to delegate it, and I can actually send it to them and we can communicate all day.
I love that. And I'd like to comment on your Eisenhower Matrix and Slack, because when you introduced me to the Eisenhower Matrix, which was maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I just instantly fell in love with that idea. So I really love that you have it on your landing page and that you've, got it as this great downloadable. And I actually don't do it necessarily on a weekly. I do, but I've also got it as a quarterly and a yearly. So
I love that.
Yeah. And so actually that came about when we did our strategy and goal setting call. We ran the two-part workshop at the beginning of the year. So that's when I decided to do it. And so I can check back with it every now and then and look, so my goals are actually set on my Eisenhower. So I thought that was a great way to work with it. And the other thing I wanted to mention when you talked about Slack, we use it also on a daily basis with the entire team. And we use Messenger for endless messaging all day long in our team Messenger group. And it's so perfect because you can see when someone's seen the message. And I really, really like that. So I know when I put something in there, if no one's seen it, then I can't, for me, that's really good. Then I know actually it literally hasn't been seen. So that's a really helpful thing, as opposed to email and stuff, which you just don't know. You're going to even see it today, for example. So
what I love about Slack is that you can connect it to OneDrive and Google Drive too. So I can put links in for documents instead of, again, having to do, and for Canva, every link that is able to be searched and found, instead of having to say, hey, here's a document I want you to edit or manage for me, I can just link it to my OneDrive or Google Drive, and then we're getting that kind of collaboration on a document. Instead of with email, it's that I'll send you a version, you send me a version, and even if there's a link in there, sometimes that link doesn't work. Absolutely. So it becomes a little bit like frustrating. So I love that you have this really great trail of communication and it's really clear. And so I know that if I haven't been clear in my communication, my team say to me, I don't really get what you're saying. And I'm like, cool, okay, I can make sure I can describe what I need and we can keep track of each other. And I love that because and we get to work in our own style then, isn't it? It's not just working the way that I want them to work. They get to work how they want to work, as long as we're meeting those outcomes.
Absolutely. I love it for that, for sure. And what will happen is I'll put something in Messenger and ask a request of my team, or I'll put some ideas out like blog post ideas or whatever. And then that will then be put into Slack under the channel of blog ideas or whatever. Now that's important because in Messenger it can get lost.
Yeah.
So by having it in Slack, and I mean, we've got so many channels in there. And then of course you can archive them. So
Yeah.
each client has a channel, each aspect of our business has a channel. And then when that client is, you know, moved on, then we can archive it. So I find it really, really helpful from that perspective. So
Definitely.
the next one that I would like to bring up is actually Calendly. So I know that there's other options out there. There's Acuity. There's actually a new one I just signed up for just to try it out. But Calendly, I keep coming back to. It's really, really helpful. And I love how it integrates with your calendar. It integrates with Zoom. It integrates with your website. So we've got it as a little pop-up on the website. So book a discovery chat, and then, you know, they click on that and then boom, it just appears as a little window. We can leave it as a link. So I've set up, I think, like maybe 8 different Calendly links. So if a client wants to book a 2-hour session, or we have a half-hour strategy call, or whatever it is, there's these different links, which I just think is fantastic. And we actually use the paid version, which means that, you know, we can brand it and do all that stuff with it. But what I think is really cool is that if I then give you my link to book something, it'll then show you your calendar beside it and show you where you're available and where we can meet together. So I think that's a little bit of magic.
And Calendly wasn't on my list, but what I love about the paid version, and I do this for one-off clients, is that I actually use it. So if people want to book an appointment with me, they actually go into Calendly, they find the appointment, and then they can actually pay for that one-off coaching session in Calendly when you have that paid. And I think it's only like $25 a month. It's a really low subscription price. But for me, they can go straight in. They've got a Zoom call or a face-to-face meeting booked. It's paid for and it's done. They don't have to worry about it. So I've done that with one-off sessions, but I've also done that when I've had a 4 or 6 package coaching session. So they can come in and book, they pay for the coaching session up front, and then that first booking session is done. So they've booked a session, paid for the 6 or 4, and then at the end of each time we catch up, we then rebook into the second one. And by doing that, it reduces all my administration. It's so much more effective. But they also know that it's not that, well, when are you going to do it? And I want to work with you. And what are the dates? It's just really easy. This is the date that's going to work for everyone.
So I've actually never used it as a payment tool. So does that integrate with Stripe, or what's it integrating with?
Yeah, it integrates with Stripe. It's a direct link to Stripe.
Cool.
So you've actually got, and that's what I was actually going to talk about Airtable, but I actually want to talk about Stripe instead of Airtable, is that when you have that integration, it means that I don't have to worry about anything. It comes up as a payment system. It's reported through my Stripe, which is then automatically connected through to my Xero. It's just a really seamless way of doing it, particularly when I have some of those clients who just want to do those 4 or 6 packages with me. They're not ready to do the 6-month program with me yet. And they just want to do, hey, let's catch up every kind of once a month, and we just pay they just go in and they've got their own personalized link, which I've sent them, and they go in and pay for their coaching session when they're ready to do it. And it just makes it so much easier.
Brilliant. So we actually have a similar scenario for those that don't want to do the coaching program, and they can go onto our Shopify website, buy that one-off coaching session, or we have a discounted price for buying 3, for example, in one go. And then with a zap, they will receive the link to then book on Calendly once they've paid for it. But that actually removes the whole first stage, and boom, pay, book, done. That's really exciting, isn't it?
And I like it because they book the way that Calendly works is that because they're choosing their time first. So before we've actually come to the money bit, they know what the price is. They get the link to say, hey, book your first session and then you'll be charged. But we get to put the date in first. So they find a date, they're already engaged into the relationship because they're looking for a date in the diary that's going to work for both of us. They found it, they've booked it, they've got the confirmation, and then they go into the next step, which is to pay, which actually then sends the final confirmation. And so I love that the flow of that far better than pay me and then we'll book a meeting, because I've done that so many times with other coaches and they can't fit me in for 6 weeks. So then I've paid and I feel like, well, I've paid you, but now I have to spend the next sort of 2 or 3 weeks tick-tacking with you to find a time. So I don't know, even with the Calendly, you can book it, but it takes that stress out. They feel really comfortable because they've locked themselves in and they're on the path of, we're ready to go.
I love that. I'm definitely going to look into that. Thanks for that share. So my next one that I want to talk about, and you and I are both going to chat about Airtable because we love it, but I really want to just talk about video for a moment. So I mentioned it briefly when we brought up Canva, So every single, well, I was going to say day, but probably month, I don't know, but regularly Canva are improving what your capabilities are with video. However, when you use a platform where there's two different ones that we use, well, actually three, but the main two that I use are Wave and InVideo. So there is subscription based, you can cancel anytime. If you jump onto AppSumo, you can certainly find where you buy it, you know, for a lifetime or whatever, which is really fantastic. But what's so cool, so I had a client the other day that's not on YouTube yet, and she has some brilliant blogs, if I say so myself, because we write them, but they're absolutely magic, and they get her a hell of a lot of traffic to her site. So what we've done, or what I just had a little play around with the other day, with this really cool feature, and Wave and InVideo both offer it, and that is that you put the link of the blog into a new video that you're creating, and it turns the blog into a video. So then you just change your colors, you know, your branding colors, because it's similar to Canva, the way that you set up your whole brand kit in there. And then all I did was I switched out some of her, some of the stock video they put in. I switched out some of the images, changed the font, changed the colors, and boom, thrilled. And I even actually just left the same music in. So I've been doing it for quite some time. I think about 3 years that capability's been there, that we've been using it. But I was never as excited as I was last week for this one, which just looked really good. And what a beautiful way to launch her new YouTube channel.
That is so cool. And I'm a bit blown away. You said so many things, crazy things around converting your blog into a video. That is like incredible. So that's something that we might be needing to have a look at, girls, to have a look at my team to look at the setup for that.
We're running a workshop on how to do it in 2 weeks. So in fact, we just started this new series of free workshops, and the first one's on Monday, and it's how to write your superpower statement. Because what I'm aware of constantly is the amount of people that just are super awkward in how they introduce themselves in a chat in a webinar, or how they introduce themselves at a networking event or whatever. So we're doing a quick little hour workshop on that on Monday afternoon. And then in 2 Mondays, we're going to do the same thing again, but in terms of creating video using a blog post. Yeah, so excited about that.
Amazing. That's
very, so you could all come along to that. That'll be fun.
So I think I may have already had 5. I don't know. We talked a little bit about Stripe, but the one that we haven't really talked about that I know both of us use religiously is Airtable.
Yeah.
So the one I really want to finish on for my kind of 5.5, because we talked a little bit about Stripe. If you need a payment system, I highly recommend Stripe as well. And I've played around with a lot of them, and I still think it's probably the best one on the market.
Me too.
But with Airtable is where pretty much my projects and my life and my social content. I know we create our content in Canva, but we house all our content, all our conversations, all what we're posting and where we're posting it in Airtable. But what recently I've done is I've actually also used it a lot recently with clients to run projects. So I'm a B Corp facilitator and coach as well. And so what I've been doing is my B Corp clients, so those clients who I'm helping to get certified as a B Corporation, we have generally a 3 to 6 month runway to develop what we need before verification. And so that's a lot of emails, a lot of traffic and communication. So we've set up an Airtable base that allows us to actually share information, allocate tasks to my clients as to what they need to do for their steps, whether it's a policy review, looking at their revenue, getting collection of information, whatever it might be, and we can share information live. And I love it because it's Excel on steroids, but without having to email to and fro, without having to worry about, did you get the note? Did the attachment come through? And I love it so much. And I use it every day with my team because we can actually then comment on it, on the content. So if I have a content that I'm writing for Instagram and I have a question that I want to check with Macy or Kelsey, I can tag them in it. They can respond to that, whether it's to change out an image or whether it's can you find this link for me? And it's so convenient and so efficient way of actually managing our kind of day-to-day activities from projects.
I so agree with you, and we could talk about this all day and all the different ways we use it. But one that I really like to use that I think everybody can do in their business is running their social media strategy on it. Yeah. And in fact, your whole digital marketing strategy, so your blogs and everything. So how we do it is that we have our captions in there, our hashtags in there. We have even the link to the Canva board where we created the graphic. But then we also have the link to the Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest, etc. once it's actually published, and it's done by week. So what's so great is that we know where we're posting, when we're posting it, why we're posting it, and what we're doing with it. But then when we decide to pull up August 2021's Airtable, we can see what we had there. We can go and look at those links super easily on Facebook and Instagram, see how those posts worked, and then we can repurpose that content. And that's one of the most important things that I'm constantly saying to people is repurpose, repurpose, repurpose. You've already put in the hard yards, so why don't you just tweak a few things and repost it? Yeah. So Airtable makes that really, really, really easy, and I love
100%.
it.
And
so
we've actually just unlocked that, because I've been writing content for 3 years, and I think we only really started reposting new content, like reposting old content this year, because I kind of was like, I don't want to repost. And then I was like, but there's some really cool stuff that I wrote way back then, and I want to tap into it again. And people from 3 years ago won't be scrolling back to find it. So we've just, we've actually repurposed it and refreshed it and made it, we use it for our, we also use it to zap in event links. So we know how many registrations that we get and attendees and things like that. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there when you're using it to think of everything that you do on Excel, except maybe the calculations that you need for Excel if you're using it for data management. But if you're using it to manage projects, email lists, event registrations, one of the ones that I did recently is I used it to create a form for one of my clients so we could do a media release consent. So we actually set it up as a form on Airtable, put the front end, and so when we're at an event, everybody could fill in their details on Airtable as the form, and then actually do their little squiggle, click OK, and then we've captured their media release information at an event, which we now can use and download to Excel if we need to. So there's so many cool ways you can use it.
That is so good, Jenni. I love that. We've done forms, for example, for coaching clients to, what do you want to work on for next week, for example? And so it will give them all kinds of options to fill out there. But that's fun, and getting a signature and all. I'm like, oh, that's impressive.
Cool
so
ways.
My final one of the day is actually to do with the way that we use it as lead magnets. And that is, we create the lead magnet in Canva, and then we upload it into Flipping Book. And then when we share the link, they have to enter their email address to be able to open the actual ebook. And it's a little bit of magic. It's really expensive. Well, I feel like it's really expensive. But so we offer it as a free service for all of our clients, so that we not only create all the graphics and everything for them, but then every Monday we'll send them out their new leads, etc., so that they can upload it into their database. So it's just totally a bit of magic. But also, I want to say that if you don't need to use it as a lead magnet, then go with a free one. Like, we bought Hazine on AppSumo, but so it wasn't free, but it was, for a very reasonable price. So you can actually put an ebook on something like that that's not used as a lead magnet, way better price, whereas Flipping Book's like $150 a month. It's a lot. Yeah. So you wouldn't want to be doing that all the time. But for us, for example, we use it endlessly. So yeah, that's definitely a little bit of magic. So let's just have a little bit of a recap, Jenni. You list yours and then I'll list mine.
So I talked about doing the Eisenhower matrix, the do first matrix, basically to prioritize your day, using a digital technology like a Remarkable or an online program, an online digital notebook. We've got Airtable, talked a little bit about Stripe. Then I talked on, my brain's going, what did I talk about? Slack. I absolutely love using Slack. And I think there was another one, but I actually can't remember it because we've kind of gone to and from. I think we've done 10.
Canva. Canva you talked about.
Canva, yes, because we both talked about Canva, and Canva, of course, yeah. So
I had Wave or InVideo, and I know it's silly that I got both, but I use them both. Canva, Flipping Book, and talked about Instagram because, at the end of the day, it is a platform. So I think that we could talk about tools endlessly. I've actually got a ebook for everybody that wants it, which has, I think it's it's more like 20 of our favorite platforms. And it includes things like MailChimp and all kinds of stuff. So if you'd like that, the link will be in the caption or whatever, so you can grab it any time. And then you'll see we actually created that lead magnet in Canva, and then it's loaded up into Flipping Book. So you'll be able to have a chance to see how does that actually work, which will be awesome. And I think that I should take this moment also to say that I actually teach Canva for Byron College. So Byron College is clearly, as it sounds, based in Byron Bay, but it's done online and you can be anywhere in the world and take part in it. And it's subsidized by the government because they want, small businesses to prosper. So it's held over 4 afternoons, 3 to 5. And I do it every term. I've been doing it for years. And it's so great. It's really limited. So we really get into the nitty gritty. And it's for beginners and people that have been using it for a while, because I'm always introducing the new things that are coming in. So yeah, even though anyone can get on Canva and use it anytime, sometimes it's super helpful to have a little guidance with that. So
definitely.
Yeah, there you go. The next one's coming up in the beginning of August. So
they're amazing. I know I send my team onto your sessions just to get some tips and hints to build their capability and their skills as well. Such great workshops. So how can we find you though, Kylie? How can we connect with you and learn all about these amazing things that you do?
The best place is to jump into the Hello Media Facebook group, which is hellomedia.team, and of course Instagram, Facebook, all the places, hellomedia.team, including our website, hellomedia.team. What about you, Jenni?
So best way to find us, it is Elephant in the Room AU. So using at Elephant in the Room, oh my God, my words today, at Elephant in the Room AU. If you type that into Google, you'll find us on Facebook, you'll find us through LinkedIn, you'll find our website, and you'll find us on Instagram, where we do love to hang out.
Magic. I love that. And so how about a chat next week where we talk about apps? So this time we talked about platforms, but I know you and I both can operate a lot of our business from our phones.
Yeah, we do.
From our iPads, for example. So how about we carry on with technology and we talk apps?
Sounds awesome. I love that idea. Let's do that.
Yes. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. I'm loving the comments in the chat. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. We love it when you let us know what you're loving. And we look forward to seeing you next Friday, same time, same place, where we talk about, let's do our top 5 each of our top favorite apps.
Sounds great.
All right.
Look forward to that. Thank you guys for joining
us
today.
All right. Thanks everyone. Have a great day. Bye.